Hey everybody, it's Oracle again,
Hey guys, it's Zonin,
and we're going to talk about RPGs, Battle Chasers in particular, I guess.
and everything RPGs in between.
Yeah. Well, JRPGs more or less.
Alright, so because you played Battle Chasers first,
I played Battle Chasers a lot.
mainly first.
I want to say it's my favorite JRPG, actually.
Okay, so starting off, who's your favorite character from the game?
I want to say it's Nolan. I feel like he has the highest combo potential
Okay,
because of his arcane missile and arcane explosion abilities.
he's a magic boy.
Yeah, it's very good. Well, what's your favorite JRPG in general, then?
That's kind of hard because I do like a lot of JRPGs, so
Exactly.
it's very difficult to pinpoint one.
Top three.
I can't do that. Again, there's a lot, so
Top eight.
I got it. No, stop.
Favorite from the year 1999.
Oh, stop it! There's so much. Stop. It's already hurting. We're talking about Battle Chasers.
Okay.
I'll come back with an answer when we get back to that. Anyway, if I have to choose a character, I'm going with Red Monica.
She's great, yeah.
Just
She's
'cause
another high combo character.
She's very good. I just like the fact that you could just debuff the entire enemy team and just hit for massive amounts of damage.
You know, basic attack that can debuff. All of her special abilities can use any type of debuff, whether it be Sunder, Poison, whatever.
She does have a cleanse, so that does help when you need it.
Yeah,
she
she has some utility to her.
She has a lot of usefulness. I just think she's an amazing character.
Only character that could use evade, too.
This is also true.
Because, like, a couple other characters, like both Goli and Alaman can use shields. Nolan can even use shields. But yeah, she's the only one that could actually use evade.
Benefit evade because she's the only one that can evade.
Yeah, so I could definitely see her having a lot of.
She's very much fun.
Yeah.
Out of the healers, though, I do like, as much as I love Calibretto, like even though he's the only healer I use since my first playthrough, but I do like Alaman.
Alaman is great.
I do like the idea of like a dark magic healer. Because you don't see that in games.
No.
It's very rare that you see a healer using dark and shadowy magic to heal and protect his party.
Yeah.
You don't see that, and I find that very, very interesting and unique, and it definitely catches my attention a lot, because I would like to see more of that. You don't get to see
I want to say
stuff like that.
he definitely excels at like single target healing. Like he does have AoE healing, but like his two primary heals are his like a blood sword type whip attack that heals for the damage it deals, and then he has a single target quick over heal, gives you shield.
My next playthrough will have Alaman, so I'll have more of an in-depth on my opinion of him, because you played him more. But I would say Alaman's my second character, just because he's a badass. He's badass.
His offensive abilities are just as good. Because, like, Bretto, I'm not a huge fan of his offensive abilities.
Yeah, no,
his best thing about him is his innervate. He gives people overcharge.
He can literally give them a buff that heals them when they take damage, which can help a lot.
Yeah,
which actually helps with quite a bit of mitigation if you really think about it.
A couple of auras. Some enemies have auras that just ping you when they comes to their turn.
DPS wise, Alaman is definitely better.
Alaman is definitely better
in that aspect, but I feel like what was it? Nolan has some pretty good heals too, from what I've seen.
Nolan has a couple of heals. He's definitely more of a pinch healer. Like, oh, my healer's already doing something. Let me do something with Alaman real quick to make sure that gets through. Yeah, and he has a res, obviously, super useful.
So, what is your overall opinion on like the game, like the story,
I think
the battle mode? What is your input on that?
One thing, I wish the end game, instead of just being a new game plus, it was hard mode dungeons, I guess, because a lot of the dungeons become obsolete after you beat them, obviously, but they do have hard modes, but they obviously only go like 2 or 3 levels above their initial level, and I really wish, like, get to max level and then you go back and do all the dungeons again for high tier, max tier loot. Especially because there's a lot of stuff from certain dungeons that are for certain characters. Like, I know in Junktown there's a chess piece for Bretto, but I really wish I could go back to Junktown at max level and get that piece for his max level kit. So that would be cool. Alamon, I think, has shield in Deadwatch, so that would be cool to get for max level, even though you can obviously unlock his ultimate weapon or whatever.
Do you have a favorite fight?
A favorite fight? Ooh.
You know, a lot of people will always ask, "What's your favorite fight in whatever RPG you're playing?" There always has to be that one fight that you always want to do, sometimes over and over and over again, just because you like the fight, how it goes, whether it's mechanic wise or just the soundtrack or multiple phases of whatever boss. Like, what's your favorite fight in Battle Chasers?
It's kind of a spoiler, but it's the last dungeon, actual dungeon, where you fight your party.
Oh, the shadows.
The shadows.
Oh, that was hard. I didn't like that fight at all.
The difficulty is literally how good your party is.
That's true.
The better your party is, the harder the fight is. Because,
for real.
Because obviously you're fighting yourself, so...
Shattered dreams in that fight. That fight was hard for me for my first time playing.
If you lack DPS, you can't do it. If
you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
you don't
right?
have the DPS. That's why I felt like Alamon would be a better choice as far as helping DPS-wise. Because while Calibretto does have damage, it's not a lot of options.
Yeah, I feel like he needs more debuff damage than just straight
That's true.
damage.
Yeah, just because he's just a pure damage dealer, he doesn't have like that offensive.
Because he has that. I think all of his bursts are pretty good for DPS and debuff, but other than that, he's just not all that. Like his obliterate is fine, his whatever is fine.
Yeah, he's just
piercing rounds.
He's like if you want a pure healer, Bretto's kind of the way to go for that.
Yeah,
he could just do it all. He could just massive health regen, burst healing, AoE cleanse because he can cleanse very much quickly.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has a instant cleanse.
Yeah, it's super useful. And the simple fact, like you said earlier, he gives overcharge.
Yeah,
He just makes your
which is
your characters
do
do more abilities.
Stupidly strong, yeah. That's great. There's so many good characters though.
I don't think I have a favorite fight yet, just because I haven't played the game as often as you did.
Well, there's a lot of fights.
There's a lot of fights, yeah, and I'm still on my first playthrough. Because I still have not beat the game yet, so
there's like a dozen hunts and then 8 dungeons. Each dungeon has one boss and at least one mini boss. Basically,
I did like the little side quests where you find the little extra bosses. I think that's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, and there's the fucking pirates too.
The pirates that are in the airships. I only think I did like 3 of them. Yeah. I don't think I did not do a lot of them.
Oh no, they get really hard after a while.
I'm sure because I've seen when you play through it, it gets there. It gets hard. I've seen it.
I just try to fast travel around the map and I'm in a fight and I just
sit there and wait for the ship to come. It's like, oh look, it's there, ready, let's go.
I know, and it just, if you aren't ready for half of those fights, you just have to restart because some bosses just are not. They really challenge you. I feel like that's the best part of the game. Is
and
like
it's definitely a grind.
No matter, I wouldn't call it a grind.
It's kind of a grind. I feel like it is. Just because you gotta as far as like all the ultimate equipment goes, like you gotta grind for those materials. You gotta find them.
I could see all the run around for the materials kind of annoying.
I feel like it's kind of grindy to an extent.
Because I think in order to get Alamon's weapon, you have to find 3 vampires, and then you also need to fill up a blood thing. And I remember I had to reset the Crimson Gardens like 4 times, 5 times in order to find the blood well to fill up the fucking thing. And it's like, oh my god, just give me the thing so I could do this one side quest.
I think I remember you doing that actually. Yeah. I think the only ultimate weapon I have, is Bretto's. But I think I have Monica's.
Is one of the easier ones, that's why.
I think I have Monica's.
Monica's is annoying because you have to go fishing for it.
Which I think we've did.
Yeah.
I think we did for my file. I think I'm missing like one part of it.
Garrison, I think, has the easiest one because all you have to do for his is beat the arena. That's it.
Oh, that's okay.
That's it.
I think the arena's fun too. I think
the arena is super fun.
I just what I am a fan of for this game is actually the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack
is fire.
I think the soundtrack is absolutely amazing, and I think that actually what catches my attention for a lot of RPGs is the soundtrack. Because there are times when that song just comes up. I probably won't even do the fight. I'll just let the game play and just listen to the song for like hours on end if you let me.
He also, the guy that did Battle Chaser soundtrack, he also did, I believe, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood soundtrack.
Ooh.
And he also did Darksiders 2 soundtrack.
Interesting.
I'm missing a couple others. Those are just like recent memory.
Interesting.
Yeah, the soundtrack is amazing.
I definitely gotta
soundtrack a lot.
I definitely gotta finish the game and then do a new playthrough.
Well, you're on the last boss.
I'm literally at the last
boss.
part. I just gotta like level up and.
I know. It's like beating Cloud of Darkness after trying to get through the Crystal Tower.
Jesus.
She's such a bitch after that.
She really is.
Like getting through the Crystal Tower is such an annoying thing, and then you're just like Cloud of Darkness, and you're like, oh great.
I guess I could just go fuck myself.
I know. Oh
so is
God.
Final Fantasy 3 your favorite Final Fantasy, or do you actually have a favorite Final Fantasy?
If it's not 3, then I would say it's 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
10 is definitely up there. I like the way the party moves around, because I like being where it's like, you know, I wish I had a black mage, and then you just switch Lulu in. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then it's like, oh, I wish I had a
My magic babe.
Yeah.
I love her.
I know, big titty goth.
It's not even that. That's not even the reason.
I know.
I just love her. I love her as a character. I love the fact that she uses the dolls in a magical aspect, because, you know, that's new. You don't really see any character like that using magical dolls as their weapon, and she just does it. She does a shit ton of damage, especially with her overdrives. She's amazing. I just love her as a character.
Same with Waka. I like using Waka just because I like the debuffs. I like putting on like
His debuffs are
blind
useful.
and
They definitely help a lot. Yeah, I do agree with that. That's also why I like Riku too, because she can do a lot of things.
oh
to
yeah,
her.
especially with her overdrive.
Especially with her overdrive. She has the best overdrive in the game.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no doubt.
Anybody can try to argue that, but Riku has the best overdrive in the game, hands down. You could do anything so long as you have the right mixture for it. You just need 2 specific items, and you're a god. No matter what's offense, defense, buffing, healing, debuffing, she has it all. She can do everything.
Yeah.
She's a god, literally, in the game. That's why everybody uses her.
Yeah.
But with good reason. She's one of the best characters in the game. My favorite Final Fantasy is definitely 9. I've always been a fan of it since I first bought it, which actually I didn't buy. It was a gift from my parents as a birthday gift, and I just became entombed into the game. Like, I just love the story. I love the different backgrounds of characters, different races of the characters. I like the fact that they're job classes. The trance system, I think, is very cool. Like, you don't get to see that a lot as often either. The soundtrack is amazing. I just love the entire game. Like,
Well, Uematsu is
amazing.
like
He's a god. I don't care. It's just so good.
who's your favorite character from 9?
From 9, it's Zidane.
Yeah.
Zidane's my boy.
Just cause.
Just cause.
He's a giant dork.
He's a giant dork. He's a dork with
He's
a
a
tail.
giant dork, but he's not a giant dork like Titus is.
Yes, absolutely. And he's just one of my favorite characters in Dissidia. Well, Zidane's just me. I just love Zidane.
Man, I miss Dissidia.
Yeah, I love Dissidia. I still have my PSP with all my data in it. I just don't have a battery or a charger for it. So I found it. It's there. I have it. I just have no way to use it.
Rip everything.
Rip everything. And Dissidia is definitely an amazing game, which makes me sad why Dissidia NT came out to be how it is. Granted,
They've changed a lot.
It definitely changed it a lot. What I hate the most is that you can't customize a character's abilities.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You can only have 1 HP attack, and I feel like, me personally, from my experience of playing the game, I just feel like the matches are too short, because you can literally have 2 people bum rushing one of your allies, and just immediately gets KO'd, and then they just double team somewhere else. I just felt like the game just was too fast. The matches are way too fast. I love how the game looks. The game looks amazing. I love the characters that they put in. I just feel like it's not up to the original Dissidia standards of Dissidia, if that makes any sense.
Dissidia was a bit broken at times, though.
True. But you were able to do a lot more stuff, in my opinion.
I agree that the customization and the original
So
Dissidia and
just
Duodecim were
the
just...
builds that you can create with any character. It was just amazing. Like, my best character in Duodecim was Kuja, just because Kuja was an omni-range character. He can hit you from anywhere on the map.
He was more or less a toolbox, yeah.
Just about, yeah, but I had just an amazing EX build, so he was almost an EX build constantly, almost infinitely. No matter what I did, he was just in EX build, so he was just super strong. I had the same setup with Onion Knight too, because Onion Knight can switch between Ninja and Sage, so he was able to burst stuff down if you built him properly too. I just love the fact that you can just customize a character and just be like, hey, I'm gonna do this build.
Right.
And then also the fact, what I loved that they added was the assists. So if there's how I viewed it as, if there's a character that you couldn't use, you just set him as an assist. So it's still effectively you're using him, just let him do his own thing, and then you combo in with the attacks and stuff like that. I just loved everything what they did with it.
That's how I felt about Jet. I could never use Jet, but
he was an amazing assist.
An amazing assist.
Yeah, I felt like that with X-Death too at some point, because I had X-Death as an assist for somebody. I forgot who it was. I think it was Golbez, if I remember correctly, because there was a certain attack that Golbez did. I think where you were on the ground, and it just comboed in with what Golbez was doing, and it just worked. And then Yuna was an amazing assist as well. I feel like she comboed in with a lot of characters. Kuja and Kane were very useful assists with how their attacks were as an assist.
Kuja set up so many attacks.
Kuja set up a lot of stuff for me, as well as Kane. Kane gave me a lot of
Kane
openings.
and Cecil, yeah.
They were really good.
Both
assists.
of the 4s.
They were really good. 4 is an amazing game too, by the way. I love 4. 4 definitely had a lot of length to it.
Go to the moon.
Not just going... Well, speaking of going to the moon, Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker gets you to the point where you actually travel to the moon once this expansion comes out.
Is it a whale again?
I don't know yet.
Is it a...
All I know is that we're going to the moon. That's as far as I know. I'm just excited for the new Sage class because I've been waiting for a new healer for years. And now I'm finally getting one. And it's going to be the Sage. And it's going to be a new shield healer like the Scholar. And I'm excited because judging from what I've been reading... is that they're going to have abilities that boost their damage spells. So they're going to do a lot more DPS than the other healers. I'm hoping they stick to that because through Final Fantasy, the series in general, the Sage was always that spellcaster hybrid that does a lot of damage but also heals a lot when it's needed. I'm just hoping they give the Sage the title of Sage, even though it's rolled its specific role as a healer first, but I'm hoping it's going to have a lot of the DPS spells that a Sage would have. So I'm excited for that. They're also mentioning that the next DPS is going to be a melee DPS. We just don't know what kind of melee DPS yet until May. But I'm excited nonetheless.
That's a while off. But
it's definitely a while
plenty
off,
of time.
I am literally hyped. I just saw literally the 50-second trailer of the Sage, and I literally lost my shit because I was waiting for a new healer forever. And I mean,
everyone has.
Everyone has, yes, but I've also come to the conclusion, no matter what game I play, I will always be a healer, nonetheless, no matter what I do.
I play support too. I like playing support.
I like DPS support.
It's more like, what is it? I can tank. I just choose not to.
I just choose not to.
I don't like being the lead person.
I don't want to get the attention.
Yeah, right? I don't like being...
And if I'm playing DPS, I'm playing DPS at a range. I want to kill you before you get to me. That's just how I've always viewed if I was playing a DPS. But I like playing hybrid characters. I don't like sticking to one thing. Just because me...
Yeah, that's why you like Monica in Battle Chasers.
That's why I like Monica.
Because she's a hybrid, yeah.
She's a hybrid.
It's like I have high DPS, but I could also tank if I need to.
Exactly. I have some utility. I can support. That's why I like hybrid. Because if you tell me, okay, I would like this DPS, I will try that said DPS class that you wanted me to try. But if it doesn't grab my attention with a lot of its stuff, I'll get bored. So right now, currently in Final Fantasy XIV, my main DPS will be a dancer. Because it's a support physical DPS. But it has the damage while you're giving buffs to your party.
Yeah.
When it's exactly while you're DPS. And that stuff I like because I want to press buttons.
Yeah.
I like pressing buttons. So if I'm going to do DPS, I'm also going to press this button to help my teammates either take less damage or have a panic heal just in case or just generate more resource or something. Yeah. I just like having multiple options. I don't like sticking to one role because I'll get bored.
I totally agree.
A perfect example would be the Black Mage. As much as I love Black Mage as a class in 14,
it's a linear build.
It's very linear. Yeah. So I went to Summoner. I enjoy Summoner because Summoner has a raise. They have a general attack buff. Now with the Phoenix, you can actually get a small region for your team in addition to doing the damage. Red Mage, obviously, it's a jack of all trades. You have DPS spells, you have a raise to help your team revive, and you have a heal when it's needed. So I just like having multiple options. That's just my playstyle. I just can't do all that.
I'm weird, I feel, because when I heal, I like having options, but when I DPS, like, I ran Warlock for Burning Crusade and WoW, and its DPS was literally just Shadow Bolt, and that's it. Just spam that one attack.
Yeah, just one track ability. It's just.
But then when I healed, I would run either like Druid or Shaman, so it was constantly like managing all my abilities while I healed. But then as soon as I was DPS, I just turned off Brain.
Yeah, just do this, do this, do this, and that stuff like
so funny.
I will get bored. Like if I'm gonna play a healer in any class, I'm gonna find that healer that can do a lot of damage.
I was gonna say I don't even think it's like, oh, I wanna heal or I want a DPS. Like I want confusing things. I just want to see really big numbers pop up.
Yeah.
When I DPS, I just want
Who
to see
doesn't
really
love big numbers.
I just want to see really big numbers. But when I heal, I want to have a bunch
of options.
Yeah.
That's how I definitely agree with that.
I can totally see that.
It's like, oh, if I'm gonna do this attack ability, I want to see like a 7-digit number coming off the monster. I want to see
numbers.
70 million damage crit. I'm saying, okay, yeah.
That's why I run
good.
Hammer. That's why I run Great Sword in Monster Hunter. Just want to see really big numbers.
I just want to see numbers.
I just want to see numbers.
If I'm gonna use a big heavy weapon, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna use that big heavy weapon.
Yeah, right.
Especially in Monster Hunter with the hammer.
Lots and lots of numbers.
So much good.
That's how it works. Oh my god.
Especially in Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter's so much fun.
That's all it is. Great Sword. Let's hit 1k damage, yeah.
Yup. And even I've reached big numbers with Sword and Shield though.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's possible.
It's definitely possible, and I think it's just so much fun. That's why I'm really excited for Monster Hunter Rise. Was it coming out? Because it still kept that. It still kept the damage numbers, so you could see how much damage you're doing. Which I
feel like that. I'm surprised it took that long to have it be a standard.
You know what? I said the same thing. Like once Monster Hunter World came out, and everybody was playing through the usual game, and then we see damage, and it's like, oh, we can actually see how much damage we're doing now. Now we can see how strong we are.
And it's not even like I'm keeping track of the numbers to see how much health the monster has. No, I just want to see numbers pop up.
I want to see how much damage I'm doing. Yeah, like a perfect example, when we're using the hammer, we want to see that last big bang combo hit. We want to see a huge, like 300, 400, 500, 600 number coming off of the monster. Just like, yeah. Or like with the great sword, once that true charge slash hits and you hear that shing, and I see like 1,000 damage coming off, it just everywhere. It just feels amazing.
It does.
Big numbers are fun. I love big numbers, especially when it comes to RPGs.
How about this? What's your least favorite RPG?
My least favorite RPG? That's kind of hard because I'm a very big RPG fan.
Yeah.
That's very hard. I'm gonna need time for this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I honestly can't say that right now because there's a lot, and I've played a lot of RPGs ever since I was a tot. So.
Aw, you're a tater tot.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna be a 32-year-old tater tot.
Oh my God, you're old as fuck.
You shut up. You stop right now with this madness.
Why not?
Because I said so.
Yeah, I'm about to show you some big numbers.
You want to see big numbers? I'll show you big numbers.
32.
Yeah, that's a big number. For me, it is. No, I'll get back to you on that. But one of the RPGs I do enjoy is Chrono Trigger, actually.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Honestly, Chrono Trigger is like... Chrono Trigger's, overworld type engagement does remind me a lot of Battle Chasers, where you see the monsters roaming around and you gotta...
That's actually what I like too about it too, because it was when I first started playing Battle Chasers with you. Yeah. I realized the monsters were on screen, and I immediately thought, "Oh, Chrono Trigger! This is dope."
Because it's like, okay, I just want to pull this one mob, so let me try to get the thing, and like it's really like, imagine a game that combines like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy IX.
My life would be over.
Like that basically is Battle Chasers.
I would literally just like jizz everywhere. Like,
oh my God, keep it in your pants, please.
I'm sorry, but that that idea just got me super excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's how it is though.
Who is your favorite character from Chrono Trigger?
Frog.
The frog. Yes, absolutely the
Like-
frog. I love Luca.
Okay.
Luca's awesome. I love her. Like she's so funny. But I just love the fact that she can actually do a lot of damage if you level her up properly and like combine your spells. That's another thing too. The abilities, and you can combo with certain abilities. I think it's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like they need to do that a lot more often with a lot of games. I think that just brings a lot more fun.
That's another reason why I like Battle Chasers.
Yeah, too. Yeah, because you can
Because
just
it's like, oh, here, let me Sunder first, so that way this tag from Monica is a guaranteed crit. Like, yeah,
Shing.
combo attacks.
Death in
good.
big numbers everywhere.
So
I
good.
love it so much.
Like, Battle Chasers really does just, like, take every good idea.
It's a nice blend of a lot of different games when you play through it. For those of you who haven't played, we highly recommend you play it. It's an amazing game.
Yeah.
Please do get and do play. Let's see.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. What about Dragon Quest? Do you enjoy Dragon Quest?
I have not played one since 3 on the PS1.
Oh wow, that's quite a long time. The last one I played was on the DS, which was Dragon Quest 8, if I remember correctly, or 9, one of the two. Probably 9, just because you can have like different classes and stuff, which is 8 or 9, I don't remember. But I'm actually kind of excited to get the new Dragon Quest 11S. But I might get it for the Switch. I'm not sure yet, just because I need games on my Switch. I only have 2 games, but I thoroughly enjoyed Dragon Quest as a whole.
I know it's more action oriented, I guess now.
Because there actually is it's kind of like that because your character moves around, but you can actually remove that option. You can actually put them to where like an actual like RPG line.
Okay.
As a traditional RPG, where your party's already in line, ready for battle,
Yeah.
and then you set the commands and all that.
Like,
stuff.
I'm not a huge fan of, like, action art, or... Because, like, there's turn-based, and then there's, like, action-y RPGs.
Yes.
Because I'm not a huge fan of, like, 10-2.
Right.
I just can't keep up with it. It's too much.
My only actual reason for liking 10-2 is because they brought back the job classes.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Because, you know, a lot of Final Fantasies don't really have that job class thing. But that's actually my only reason. It's like, oh, you have the Black Mage. You found the Black Mage, or Dress Fair, I believe it's called. I just like the fact that they brought the job classes.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Final Fantasy 12 when they have the Zodiac job system.
I love 12.
I thought that was... I love 12 too. I'm actually a big fan of 12. I actually like the fact that when that was introduced, that you can actually combine classes. So you start out with your primary, and then I guess a little more playthrough through the game, you can get your subclass. So you have like different combinations that you can choose. I haven't actually played the International Job one, not yet, but I intend to. But
I played through it on PS4. I had the remake or whatever it was.
they actually have Final Fantasy 12 on the Switch, actually.
Oh, wow.
So I'm actually got a whole bunch of Final Fantasy games on the Switch.
I want to say I did most of the hunts. I missed a couple.
I definitely missed a few, yeah. I definitely was not ready for the Yasmat fight.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all. My party was not ready for that, and it was absolute death.
I think it's a pretty cool thing, though, because all it does is test your knowledge of the gambit system, since you basically have to set up all your gambits perfectly and then put the controller down and walk away.
And just which I find okay. Like, I didn't mind the gambit system, but again, I like to press buttons.
I feel like it fits for the game, though, because the whole point of the game is the gambit system. So obviously, a boss that tests your knowledge of the gambit system is needed.
Like, let's see. Like, Yasmet's literally looking at you. Oh, you like gambits? Let's see how well you do with those.
Yeah, let's see how well you could manage everything.
And that fight is a hell of a fight. Like, you'll be in that fight for like 3-4 hours if you're not prepared.
3-4 hours if it's on like 10 times speed. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. That fight that's quite a fight.
Yeah, that's literally the point.
That boss is actually an alliance boss in Final Fantasy 14. Actually.
Oh wow!
They actually have a lot of
How does that even work?
Well, it's an alliance raid, so you have like your 3 groups, of 8, and then you go through the dungeon. He's actually the last boss of it, which is if you remember Bagamnon, one of the Banga from the 4, that group of Banga, got corrupted by a crystal. and obviously, it's Final Fantasy 14, so they have their own little twist on stuff. He turned into Yasmet, and he has like 3 different phases, I think, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've done that raid.
I could see phases being a good way to make Yasmet different for
like he had like his first phase is basic. You just dodge AoEs, try to dodge, you pay attention to the mechanics, and then like once he's down to like I think like 70% health, he switches his whole kit, and then once he's at 30, you have ads to deal with, and you have to attack his core because phases. You know, it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's interesting how they have a lot of different stuff from the series of Final Fantasy into 14, which I think is very, very fun. And obviously, from what Endwalker is going, it's going to be a lot of stuff from Final Fantasy 4 because we're going to the moon. Still don't know how we're doing that, but it's going to be a thing. But they have stuff from Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 11.
I was going to say, you go to 8, or in Final Fantasy 8, you go to the moon too, don't you? Or you go to just a space station.
You're just in space in general.
Yeah.
The space station, I believe. You might be
right.
Oh,
because the moon crying or whatever is what creates fiends in 8. That's what it is.
So, yeah, and then that's when Renoa gets her awakening to become an actual sorceress.
Yeah.
I think 8 is fine, though.
It's fine.
I enjoy 8.
I like the Guardian system more than I like the Materia system.
I agree.
Unpopular opinion.
But I agree because the Guardian Force is definitely a staple.
You could go more into depth with what stats you're customizing.
Right, and depending on the Guardian Force, you build a good character. You build your characters with said Guardian Force to have a really good setup exactly how you want.
And because the variety of Guardians, you could actually do a lot of different things with it.
So now I have a question for you. What is out of the entire series of Final Fantasy, what would be like your favorite thing from the entire series? Like something that you think is like a common thing throughout the entire series.
Sid? Is that what you mean?
Oh, I guess like Sid, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you one thing. So my favorite thing that was almost consistent throughout the entire series is the summons.
Okay.
So like Ifrit,
Shiva,
Ramuh,
Bahamut,
Bahamut, Leviathan. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. That's why I like summoning, because just how the summons come out, all the effects, they're strong, they're absolutely powerful, they're massive. Like that's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things in the Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So what would be yours if you had to sit there and think?
I would probably still say Sid.
Sid, okay.
Because Grandpa Sid and Grandson Sid from 5 are like some of my favorite characters.
5 is amazing as well too. But all the Sids everywhere.
5 really did is basically peak job class too.
Just about, yeah. Pretty much. Just because I want
hybrid,
this class, and then I could put this class.
I know.
It's I thought 5 was done really, really well. Especially I thought it was awesome too with the Game Boy Advance versions. They had extra content for it.
Yeah. Because I do like a lot of the jobs in 5, especially. I like the spell sword a lot. I think
the Spellblade, Spellblade's amazing.
That should definitely be a class you should see more often. I want it. I want to punch people with flair.
Yes.
I want to punch people with the holy.
Yes.
That's what
I want my fist to do magic. I want my sword to do everything. I love Spellblade too, but another class that I feel like is really, really fun, but it's definitely not as popular is Geomancer.
Oh, Geomancer is great though.
And I enjoy Geomancer because it gives that extra bit of surprise, if you will, because you don't know what abilities you're going to do. And in some games, I feel like Geomancer is very, very strong, especially when they're leveled up.
They're really strong in 3.
Very strong in 3. They do a lot of damage in 3. That's why I was really happy with bear with me one moment. It is
yes. What is it from 3?
In 5 actually, because
Geomancer in 5 then.
Geomancer in 5 because they actually had a lot of abilities that helped you be resistant to environmental damage in certain areas.
Yeah, that's their passive. I think is just environmental
protection. And then they also actually made you essentially be immune to lava as you were walking through, so you wouldn't get hit at all. But I also liked it because it was also a special thing for Mog in Final Fantasy VI. because depending on your terrain, he has different effects. So he can heal you, he can just one hit KO enemies, he could debuff. He had a lot of stuff. And Mog I thought was a very fun character. But I feel like Geomancer overall as a class, I feel like is definitely not a popular option, but I feel like it's very enjoyable because it's also one of those classes that if you want to use magic but don't want to rely like heavily on having a spell list to manage, I feel like Geomancer was the way to go.
And that's really strong in 5 because then you could go like Geomancer and then just have like your secondary be just a normal class, like Monk or something.
Or like one of my favorite things was having a blue mage with Geomancer. So like Geomancer had a really good.
So it's small spell list plus
just about
stupid spell list.
Yes, and blue mage actually had the highest spell list.
Yeah,
in a lot of
obviously.
games actually.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very good in 5 because actually that's how Blue Mage was introduced in 5. And they just have a huge spell list.
I think Mimic was too.
Mimic was actually introduced as well. Yes, you are correct on that.
Yeah.
And I thought Blue Mage was fun. Blue Mage is actually another class that I like because like a discussion that we had earlier, I like playing hybrid characters. And Blue Mage, along with Red Mage, are actually considered one of the fighter mages. They're hybrids, but for Blue Mage in particular...
Well, in 5 they could apply like heavy armor and stuff.
Yeah, and they can use shields, so they can literally protect themselves. But I always liked Blue Mage because they have a huge spell list, so there is options. They can have some of the weakest stuff to even some of the best abilities in the game. They can have swords and shields, so they can fight up close. They can heal. They can debuff. They can protect. They can DPS. They can do everything. And it's also, as much as I love the class too, it's also a love-hate because there are some games when they're just treated as...
And they're a pain in the ass to get half their abilities.
They're a pain in the ass, and you have to grind the holy shit out of them
in order to get
your entire spell list. But I also feel like too that a lot of people consider it as a pure spellcasting job, which in aspect they're not wrong. But the Blue Mage is literally classified as a hybrid.
Yeah.
So like, but it's just one of those classes that I always thought was...
The Blue Mage that they did the most dirt was definitely Kamari.
Yes. Absolutely.
Why was his overdrive just...
And that upset me.
His blue spells were...
That actually upset me so much.
Oh my god.
I thought it was...
They should have changed him around so he could make overcharge quicker.
They should have done that, but also made his blue magic spells his own spell list, because that was his shtick. That was in his kit. As for his overdrives, they should have gave him just a whole other list of abilities that weren't blue magic. And because he was literally in the middle of the entire sphere grid, you could literally have him either way. Like you can put him towards Lulu's or put him straight through Orin's or Titus's or Waka's. He's literally in the middle.
I think one of the times I did it, I brought him like through Titus's and then I went straight down to Yuna's. So we had both time magic and healing.
Yeah.
It was great.
I actually did that with Riku. But
Riku's right in that area too,
I put her through Waka's and Lulu's. So she was literally like my debuffing spellcaster.
That's so weird.
I had Titus go through his own sphere grid along with Yuna's and then put him right through Orin's.
I have Waka go through Orin's too.
So I had Titus like the paladin, if you will, with it's like provoking, doing the breaks, and then having the backup healing.
I give Waka the breaks.
And I thought the breaks were very useful. I feel like they helped a lot in a lot of fights. And then Lulu, I just had her as literally like my strict spellcaster with black magic and white magic. I just wish that you could actually dual cast white magic, which you can't. But she it didn't matter. She did not care. Lulu will kill you with all her spells, especially when you do her overdrive correctly. She's one of the strongest attacking characters in the game, right next to Waka.
Both really good.
They are.
10 is great.
10 is very good. And I was actually kind of happy that they did a remaster for it. But I would like to still see a remake or remaster for Final Fantasy IX. It will always be my favorite. Yeah. Will I ever get it? I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for me.
I think they're supposed to be doing something with 5.
Maybe? I don't know yet. I actually might look into that now that you pointed that out.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
5 needs some more love.
A lot of those games need love. Like they did. I want 6. Also, And I also like. Speaking of, who's your favorite villain of Final Fantasy?
Villain of Final Fantasy, Gilgamesh.
If you classify him as an actual villain,
I would call him a villain. He has the best theme.
he does. Battle of the Big Bridge, one of the best themes ever. But if you, like an actual villain who like plays their part in the series, if you had to choose, who would it be? Not Gilgamesh.
I want to say X-Death because he's a tree.
Because he's a tree. Is that your only reason? Because he's a tree?
X-Death has the stupidest fucking backstory. I'm sorry.
It is.
A wizard
He's just a magic
got
tree.
sealed into a tree. The tree then became X-Death.
He's just a magic tree. I mean, I still don't know how they managed to come up with that, but
it's called crack cocaine.
Listen. I mean, that shit does to you, and you just gotta do some crack cocaine. Just be like, oh god, this tree's magic. Yeah. I'm gonna give it a name, and then lo and behold, X-Death was born. I do like, visually, I do love Ultimecia.
I thought you were gonna say Kuja because I know Kuja's.
Well, I love Kuja too, but Kuja was also one of those villains that didn't really succeed in what they did.
Yeah, that's not uncommon.
No, it's not, which is why I feel like Ultimecia was on that list of the ones who did it because she was in the process because time was being compressed. Now, Kefka of Final Fantasy VI
succeeded.
He did succeed. He destroyed the world as he wanted to, and he became a god as he did. But if I'm going with one, it's probably going to be just Ultimecia, just because of how her process of the whole time compression, but also using her power to control other sorceresses through time. What I thought was a very interesting thing for a villain, because you don't really think about her like until you play through the game, and then she starts showing up as like, I'm Ultimecia, and then she's just controlling all these sorceresses from everywhere. Literally controlling Adia, and then you fight her twice, and then just all that stuff. And the whole time compression and stuff. I just think that's a really cool thing, especially her theme, the Extreme. One of the best themes ever. I thoroughly enjoy that, and I will repeat that soundtrack every single time if I get the chance.
Actually, you say you don't count Gilgamesh, but would you count Seymour from 10? Because he was a villain. You had to fight him like...
He was you did have to fight him a few times, and he succeeded to a point. Because with Seymour, he basically just wanted everybody dead so he could just become Sin. And his point of...
Free them from Sin by...
quote-unquote, freeing them by becoming Sin.
Yeah.
So, he kind of succeeded. Also has a really good theme. When you fight him, I think, for the last time. But Seymour, probably not. Yes and no. Seymour's weird.
Seymour is weird.
Seymour is weird.
He has some tough fights, though.
Yes. If you're not prepared for those fights, he will murder you.
I don't know if it's the second or third one, where it's right after Gagazet.
Oh, right. That fight is annoying. And if you're not prepared for that zombie stuff, he's gonna murder you.
Yeah.
Because if you're not prepared for that zombie status, which he does a lot throughout that fight, and if you don't debuff him, because I think you can poison him actually. You can poison him.
Yeah, it takes a couple of attempts. But
it takes a couple of attempts, but he can be poisoned. But I think he can also be braked too. You can survive a lot of his attacks, and his attacks hit pretty freaking hard from that fight.
Yeah. That's a lot of it, though. You have to you have to spam poison on him, and then you have to basically spam Aeons until the poison deals damage, and then you just.
What I immediately did for that fight is just I spammed Hasegawa on the entire party, had Lulu overdrive Bio, so it's 4 or 5 times until Bio hit. That's how I got it.
That's how you. Yeah.
Legit.
That's a good way.
Yep. And then I just had Waka just DPS it, and then I had Yuna and Riku for cleanses when they needed it. And then, to a certain point, I had just Lulu just go in, and I had Lulu Lily maxed out first almost.
Tidus being the speed control in that fight is probably so useful.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. Having control of how the fight is going definitely helps a lot in fights, and I feel like they should in a lot of games have like more of like a class or a character that specializes like that.
Actually, last time I was playing Battle Chasers, I had Nolan. One of his abilities is the Frostbolt, and you can make it so that way it reduces the opponent's haste by twice as much.
Yeah.
So I actually used him for speed control.
Control like that is very useful.
It was so good.
Like control just helps.
I don't know if you remember the boss from Strongmont, the giant skull that would
Yes.
just explode.
Yes.
I did it so that way I one-phased him. He didn't even get to explode because I slowed him down that much.
See, like that right there, that stuff just helps a lot in fights.
It's so good.
That's why Time Magic was so good. Time
Yeah.
Magic helped in a lot of fights too, because
Time Magic's so good.
Time Magic is good, which a lot of people thought that the Time Mage would be the next healer for Final Fantasy XIV, just completely reworked as a healer. You know, having haste
That'd be
is like
awkward.
part of a heal. It would, but it would also make sense too.
I
Because,
feel like their kit is just a bit too limited.
right.
Like you would need. Generally, when it's Time Mage, it's time and space. So they also get stuff like Meteor and Gravity.
yeah.
So.
But Meteor's already at the Black Mage's level 3
that's what I
limit
mean,
break
like,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. Which is why I was actually hoping for the Chemist as the next healer. Because Chemist was actually the second healer that appeared throughout the Final Fantasy series. And then, you know, Sage came and stuff like that, and it was just like, okay.
Wait, Chemist is the second healer?
Along with Sage, technically, too.
Oh, okay. That's
Mhm.
good. Oh, yeah, the Sage is the upgraded White Mage from Final Fantasy 1. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then... But I was hoping for the Chemist, because a lot of people were hoping for Chemist, and, you know, just give it its...
Chemist and Scholar are almost the same, though, so...
Depending on the game.
They're more or less interchangeable. They're both item-based, more or less.
In Final Fantasy 3, yes.
Yes.
And then also in Final Fantasy 4, the After Years, Harley, which her job class is Scholar, I think she gets an accessory. If memory serves, she gets an accessory that boosts her item
Yeah.
healing.
I always liked item healing, except I also hate it because if you... The offensive items, there's no way of getting them.
No.
It's always just, I have to spam potions and stuff.
That's why I liked...
I don't mind. They do great healing. Like,
sometimes it just out heals
Yeah.
whatever mage has the healing.
Yeah.
That's why, like in Final Fantasy Tactics, I enjoyed having a chemist. I actually had a ninja with the item commands,
Throwing everything.
just throwing items everywhere, whether it's offense or healing. He just threw everything.
that's so good.
And it's
I'll
because
throw a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Exactly. And then, like, I'm going to toss a potion over here, and I'm going to throw a bomb at this motherfucker. And then it's just, but also, like, the ninja had more range than the chemist. So if you had it as items as a secondary ability, the ninja would just benefit greatly. Because, like, he can be, like tiles upward, and, you know, your summoner or something's close to dying. So, I'm just going to toss an elixir from all the way the hell up here, and the summoner's good to go. Yeet! Just yeet the hell out of that potion. Just make sure he's good. That's why I was actually... I was sad because it didn't release it, but I was also happy because
I would play that if I could just throw stuff at people.
and a lot and I thought it, like, you know, just have them, you know, have a stick where they have a certain potion, and then you stash it away, pick another potion, and then you just use the command to, like, mix it, and you get, like, different results, whether it's a DPS ability or a buff or a regen or, like, some type of mitigation tool, you know, something. The chemist can do it.
Yeah.
Especially in a lot of games. Riku,
Super
for
good.
example. Riku's a perfect example of that. Just combine 2 items.
Oh, yeah.
And you can do whatever you want, so long as you know the item combination.
Yeah, she basically is a ninja because that's like
She's a
thief,
ninja chemist. Yeah. She's literally those 3. Now that you said it, ninja, chemist, thief. Just because she's fast, she can evade, she throws items, she uses the items to heal and support her team. Yeah. That's why I feel like that's another game that's also made by Square Enix, Bravely Default. They actually have the traditional white mage. They have an upgraded version of the white mage, and then they have the chemist. Their chemist, which is called the Salve Maker, and they can do relatively the same thing a chemist would. They can buff the power of their potion. They can actually turn their potion healing into a DPS ability. They have a lot of stuff like that, and I think like chemists like that, it was an interesting thing. So I definitely feel like they should do that a lot more often with the chemist, just because I feel like it's unique. It's in its own way. Yeah. Not just like, if I'm going to be a healer, I'm going to use healing magic. You don't have to do that, you know, with the chemist. You can just literally just use a potion, double the potency or something, or just do stuff like that. And I think like that is...
Imagine
stuff like
if we
that is
got
fun.
like a shield healer in a single player type.
I think that'll be dope.
I would love that.
I think it would actually be really dope.
Just like bubbles.
Just
I mean, I
bubbles.
guess that's what Goalie does in Battle Chasers. She's kind of a shield.
She's a bubble tank. Literally, she did the bubble tank. Just have shields for days. That'll be a wicked combination too, with Alumon's healing and her shields, because he has shields too.
Yeah, and
So,
Nolan also got shields.
Just stacking shields. If you do it the right way, your party will be set to go. And I think that'll be a really interesting combination too. Now that I think about it,
That'd be good.
you should try it.
I'll try it. I don't care. I'll play through the game again.
Sure, just let me know when you do it. I'll come over and I'll watch you play and see how that combination works.
So good. Battle Chasers really is like.
Yeah.
It has to be my favorite. Like, I can't think of a single one that even comes close. It's so fun.
I do enjoy Battle Chasers for the small time that I have been playing it, but I'm probably just gonna choose
tonight.
Chrono Trigger.
Oh, really?
Probably. If it's Final Fantasy related, then 9 all the way.
Yeah.
I
Chrono
can't.
Trigger, so.
I can't get rid of 9. 9 will be my number one. I'll say it a million times over if anybody asks me, what's your favorite Final Fantasy? 9. It would always it'll always be 9. 9. Exactly. 9. Always. No. 9. Always. What is your opinion on the Final Fantasy Type 0?
Type 0?
Yes.
Ooh. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoyed probably the story more than the combat. The combat is fun. I like the normal combat though. I don't like the overworld. I don't know if you played Type 0.
I actually haven't. I've started it, but I'm like in like level like 10, 12, so I'm still like relatively early in the game.
There's some fights that just happen in like the overworld where you're moving around armies and you're fighting off armies. And...
Oh, I did get to that. Now that you said it that way, yes, I did get to that point the first time, first round of the controlling armies and stuff, which I find very
like it's
bland.
Yeah,
very bland.
The normal combat I like, that type of stuff. I feel like it could have been done a bit better. But yeah, no. I like having the subsequent playthroughs where you could play different parts of the missions.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I definitely gotta give that game another go too, because I thought the game visually was very appealing, and I feel like if I play through it, I might enjoy it more.
Who's your character?
Out of all the characters, I have 2 solids. The first one is definitely Rem.
Okay.
I love Rem as a character. I think she's
thief.
absolutely I think she's absolutely amazing. And then my other one will probably be Cater.
Okay, yeah.
I love Cater.
Cater's mine.
I think she's absolutely.
I love the gun.
I think she's absolutely adorable.
I like both gunners actually. Her and King are
King is really good too.
my 2 favorite characters in that, just because I like run and gun.
I think Rem is just amazing though. Like I just love her character. I love her design. I love the fact that she dual wields daggers, which is amazing. But I also like the fact, even though she's very thief-like, she has a lot of magical potential. So all
of them have magical potential.
True, but she has a lot. She has like that.
That's kind of like the theme of Type 0.
Yes, but I feel like she has a lot of that. She's like nimble. Like she can go in, dodge and weave, hit you for massive amounts of damage. She's definitely going to be the character that I'm going to play a lot more once I get back into it, just because I just love her completely overall as a character. She's
the story is absolutely worth it. Just playing through for the story.
Yeah, definitely.
You obviously have to play through multiple times to get the full story, but like.
Yeah, I definitely got to give that another run around and try to play through it.
It's so good.
I enjoy that. I actually do enjoy that game for the small time that I have. Been playing it. Actually,
I want to say my squad was primarily like Cater, King, and Jack.
And I know that the current party that I had was Rem, 9, and Cater. That was my team.
9 is funny. I like 9's interactions.
9 is absolutely hilarious, and he's such a shit talker.
He's such a fucking
and he'll get into your face like, "What did you just say to me?" But I love him as a character too, just because.
9 is great.
He's hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. Another character that I do love is what is her name? Deuce.
Oh,
I absolutely love her.
She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
I love her so much. Yeah. But Rem will always be my number 1 in that game. I think she's absolutely an amazing character. And then just Cater just has my second. I just love Cater.
Cater's great. I love it.
Cater's amazing. She has her like I said, her weapon is absolutely good too.
Her weapon is great. I think she has one of the highest mobility in the game too.
I would say so.
She runs quick.
I would very much agree. I think Queen is up there too, I believe. I think
Yeah.
Queen's pretty fast as well.
8 is 2, and
8 is the monk, correct?
Monk,
Okay.
yeah. 8 and Ace, I think, are also pretty quick.
Who's that other girl? 7? Right? With the white hair? 7? Is that 7?
Size 7. I think they both have white hair.
The one that's not in a ponytail.
The chain whip or the
Yes.
The chain whip 7.
Okay, alright. I thought she was okay. I thought she was pretty good. I feel like her playstyle was a little bit wonky. Only because I
Yeah.
probably haven't played her enough when I was
couldn't get
playing the
into
game.
her either, don't worry.
But I do like again, I do love Ram. I do love Cater. I do like King. He's very, very fun. Trey was weird for me.
Yeah.
I
couldn't get into him.
He didn't feel like an archer.
I feel like he would have been better if the game was actually multiplayer, like it was supposed to be on the PSP.
Yes.
I feel like he would be great being a teammate and having your other 2 players being actual people.
Yes,
He would be
I
fantastic.
I definitely agree with that. So I definitely look through that game again and probably give it another go because I honestly don't remember how long I've actually.
There's definitely some characters that are just better off as.
Yeah, but if I'm choosing one, it's just Rem. It's just Rem. I just love her. I love her so much. Yeah. she's so good, and she's really strong too. Once you get her going, she has a lot of combo potential too.
Oh yeah,
she definitely has a lot of good attacks. I think she's really
especially
fun.
when you get to like later in the game, you need decent mobility because bosses move around so quick. That's why I use Cater so much.
She definitely has
because
a lot of that too.
She's also fast and has a ranged attack.
Yeah.
So
you
obviously
definitely-
she could put a lot more pressure on bosses.
I definitely like the fact that she Ram has a boomerang type attack. Like she combines her daggers to one big hit. She just tosses it. I was like, okay, I can hit you from range now. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that game another playthrough.
You should. It's super fun.
I definitely want to because the opening scene.
I love the music.
The opening part like kind of killed me because the chocobo definitely like burned me. Like I was actually really sad.
Oh
about
no,
that
you will
chocobo.
cry multiple
No,
times through that scene.
I am well aware, but that first time of me playing through it, I will tell you right now, when that chocobo died, I cried like a bitch because I love chocobos, and I was very heartstruck. I was very sad.
Trust me.
I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do with my life. I had to pause the game, wash my face. That's
Oh my
how bad it was.
Listen, fuck The Last of Us 2. If you want to cry, play Type 0.
Oh Lord, I'm done.
Like, there are so many moments where it's
I
like,
couldn't.
why is this game so depressing? Oh my god.
The first time actually when I saw that first cutscene, I gotta tell you, I didn't play through it. I actually stopped playing the game and then I went back to it. I couldn't after that. I saw that.
Oh no,
chocobo.
it gets way more depressing.
I'm sure, but I couldn't deal with that. I could not deal with that
Oh my
chocobo
God.
going down like that, and he's just chilling on the chocobo, and the chocobo's not responding, and I had to pause the game. And I had to just wash my face because I was crying. I couldn't deal with it.
And it was Ace's brother. It wasn't even like, I think Ace lost his brother there.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did, and that
He lost his brother and his brother's chocobo. Yeah.
Not to sound messed up, but I didn't care about him. I cared about the chocobo.
Yeah.
I cared so much about the chocobo. But I'm sure I'm going to be in for...
When did I even play that? 2014? God damn. That was like 7 years ago.
I think I bought it like 3 years ago.
Wow.
I think. I want to say, maybe.
Yeah, no.
I'll definitely look through that game again.
That's a game I have to play through again, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty long though.
Is there like a multiplayer option for that game?
No, it was on PSP. You needed ad hoc.
Oh, that's true. Okay. I wish it was. We could have done like missions together.
Oh,
or
I would have
something.
loved that. No
That would've
doubt.
been awesome.
But you know,
Can't always get what we want.
Right? Mm-hmm. Well,
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. This is Zon in here, along with the blind Oracle. Excuse me.
are you drunk again?
Maybe I might. I'm not sure yet. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll come back whenever we get the chance.
Later.
before, but the song.
If I'll
Oh